Let's get on to room for improvement. What would we have changed about Tropic Thunder?
When you talk about comedies, I think comedies lend themselves to always the most room for improvements. And the reason why I say that is a lot of comedy is improvised, and when you catch comedy gold, sometimes like it's to me, film is fluid. I'm cool with some shots being out of focus if like they teach you when you first do film, like audio is more important than visual, which you would never think. But when the audio is wrong, you can't even perceive the visual. But when it comes to comedy, I'd rather catch the natural joke than the filming was perfect, the shot was right, the lighting was magnificent. But yeah, it was stale. So when you see something like this, if I have to be completely honest with you, when I talk about room for improvements, mine came with continuity and things that even I think a first year film student would have caught. Now, granted, the audio, what we got, did they sacrifice that for the shots? I think it lends itself to what most people aren't confident to talk about, which is that on one end, I was intimidated as a child when I saw all these lists of people that it took to make this movie. But when I got older and me and you made movies and me and other people made movies and I didn't see all these other people, and furthermore, I was like, the more people we added, the less work we got done. So you can tell me all day that 1,000 people did this, but yet again, it lends to when this great editor does something, Wonder Woman 1984 effect, and then I hand it off to this guy who I edited with such and such. Oh, I was on this set. It was the creme de la creme. Yeah, but you don't know what a sequence looked like. You don't own Premiere. So what you've edited.
I disregarded any technical qualms with the movie because it's a comedy. So there's plenty of continuity errors and
Not plenty. It's like
there's
14.
plenty.
It's like 14.
That's
plenty.
enough. Yeah. When you have that many people on crew, somebody should be catching this.
Right.
But I stuck more to what bothered me from like a story standpoint. And the one thing that has always bothered me from the first time I saw this movie was the logistics of how they would go about filming this movie that Cockburn wanted to shoot the alternate way, like guerrilla style. So they show us a few cameras set up in the trees. Cockburn has his camera that he's going to be following them around from a distance. But we know that there's so much more that goes into even a guerrilla style film to make it look and sound like a film that could ever plausibly be put out by Hollywood, which this movie was. Les Grossman is the exec on it. So you think he's going to get these dailies and accept something that are some surveillance shots from static cameras up in the trees that could no way anticipate where exactly they're going? I know they have the map, but there's no way they have enough cameras and coverage with one camera guy following them around and random cameras set up in trees to get these boring ass static surveillance shots. No sound, no lighting. They're working improv, which I gather most of these actors don't have the ability to do. So I'm bothered by the logistics of what got them out there to start this whole thing.
I think one thing that you are missing when you say that is the fact that you've done several movies. You've been on big projects. You've been on small projects, and none of the projects you've been on never has a key grip walked up to you and punched you in the face because a director from 10,000 miles away said they didn't like that you blew a $4 million shot. And what I mean by that is this: you have to understand what that does to a man. They say he's a first-time director. You have all these A-list actors, these individual people who cannot be insured, and you've tried to do this movie the best way you know how, and that has all failed. So you take a bottle of tequila, you meet Nick Nolte's character, which is not really a character, this murderer, as you say. He says you got to put him in the he was pushed to that edge. You literally just got punched in the face by the key grip. And so after all that, I get what you're saying, bro.
I understand his motives.
I know, but you don't. But you don't because it's never happened to you.
No, but I watched it in the movie.
Correct.
And
you're saying no lighting, no sound. That's only what they showed us. You have to understand. He blew $4 million. He didn't blow the whole budget. He still had money.
We saw who came out there in the helicopter.
I saw Cody,
Pyro,
the liar, and him. I didn't see anybody else. So I didn't see Tuck and Kim.
That's who we have on the crew.
We saw.
He even said, we're going rogue on this.
But the problem is the camera he had is the same camera that I saw you film with before years, about 10, 15 years ago, was with the XL1.
Yeah.
And you didn't have sound. And you didn't have lighting. But you did a movie, did you not? Did you not? Yes or no?
Not a movie that got sold. Definitely a movie that Les Grossman would have had me punched in the face for. So I understand his motives, but he's going out there ill prepared. There's the logistics of trying to get a movie shot under those circumstances with what he went out there with what we were shown. That's all that I can only judge it by what I was shown, what
True.
the movie showed me.
True.
A few cameras up in the trees, and him wandering around with a camera. No sound, no lighting, some pyrotechnics. That's not going to get the movie Les Grossman wants. So I understand the motives, the logistics don't make sense.
But guess what, David? He had lighting, sound, and everything. He wasn't getting the movie he wanted. So who gives a f? He doesn't have. That's all I'm saying.
The motives are there.
What did he say? You got to get gritty. You got to put him in the shit. He said it. Oh yeah, guerrilla style. Well, guess what? Guerrilla style. When you're a gorilla, you don't get to tell me how to shit.
Okay. Yeah. I'm just saying it bothered me.
And that is how we do it.
That's what we would have changed.
Why don't you subscribe? It'll last longer.